30 years after the original 1994 Lion King, what do you think is different or similar to this origin story?
Well, this is an extension of the story. This is a part of the story we've never heard. And Barry Jenkins and his whole team, Barry Jenkins is the director, he's a masterful director. He's added so much complexity to it, to the Mufasa backstory, and also to the Taka, aka Scar backstory. No one's born a villain and no one's born a hero, as Barry always talks about. So to watch how they developed traits that would be associated with either of those, I think it's fascinating, but also it's so relatable. The songs by Lin-Manuel are great, new songs, and me and Seth Rogen doing our shtick, take it or leave it, and it's just so fun.
Absolutely, and this is a story about brotherhood, right? So what do you want audiences to get from that?
I think it's about brotherhood and it's about found family. It's about chosen family, which for me is a huge part of my life. I have a ton of friends here tonight. They are my family. And I think that's so important. I think a lot of people can relate to that as well.
Why do you think this story was important to tell now in 2024?
I think it's always important, or at least interesting, to evolve a story. To look backwards and forwards into where a story is. I mean, we've seen that with Wicked, right? Which I just saw and loved. And it is so interesting. How did the Wicked Witch become quote unquote wicked? How does Scar become quote evil or the villain? So to add that complexity to it and that humanity to it, I think is important.
Absolutely. What do you want kids and families to get out of this? After watching it and letting it marinate, what do you want them to walk away with it?
This movie, when I watched it alone in a screening room even, made me feel like a kid. It really did, in a great way. I know that sounds cheesy, but it really did. It just has that sense of wonder about it that Barry and his team were able to instill in it. The action-adventure sequences are mind-blowing. I mean, it's lions chasing each other and going down waterfalls and underwater and on a snow-capped mountain. I don't even know how the hell they do it, but then I'm just happy to be a part of it. It's really astonishing.
You mentioned working alongside Seth Rogen, so what was that like?
Love Seth so much. We played Timon and Pumbaa. Seth and I, they encourage us to improvise a lot, and I think maybe 90% of what made it into the movie was improvised. Things that me and Seth came up with in the booth together. We get to record together, which is awesome. I love that man. He feels like a brother. We spend a lot of time making these movies together and promoting them, and I adore him.
And you guys' characters are kind of like comedic relief, but also comforting. So how did you guys tap into that part of it?
Well, Timon and Pumbaa, they need each other. They're best friends. They are their chosen family on some level. And, they're an unlikely duo, and they're the ultimate outsiders. They're always desperate to be in the center of the story, which they never are, unless Disney makes a Timon and Pumbaa prequel, which we're very excited about. That hasn't been announced. We're just putting that out there. But yeah, I think it has that heart because they're family too.
What would that ideal prequel look like?
Oh, I don't know, but Lin-Manuel, who did not write us, who had the audacity not to write a new Timon and Pumbaa song for this movie, better write some songs for the prequel. I would love a Timon and Pumbaa prequel. When Timon met Pumbaa, we see how they met, how they became friends. Later, we watch them aging gracefully in a remorseless industry. It would be so fun.